All right, everybody, welcome to another live edition of the NBA Exchange. I'm your host, Dexter Henry. Been doing some live content as we get closer to the start of the NBA season, just a little bit over a week away. So, we're all excited about that. But there's always a betting component that's also can be added towards the NBA. A lot of talk about sports betting nowadays. Got to talk about that. And one of the most exciting things for people to bet on in terms of the NBA is the over under win totals for the season. So, to talk about all that, the over under win totals, what we think are some good ones you should go over, some you should maybe take the under, and teams you should absolutely stay away from. Got two of my guys rocking with me, veteran sports journalists. First up, my man, you know him as the blackatologist, Jamal Murphy. Murph, what's up, man? I know for you and I, kids are home on Indigenous Peoples Day, which is keeping us busy.
Yep,
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Just trying to get some peace and quiet up in the crib. No school. I don't know. Makes things a little complicated, but I'm good.
Peace and quiet is hard to find at this time. Also rocking with me, you see him here on this show from time to time doing NBA with Nuance, also the host of the Seven Footers podcast. My man, Jarod Hector. Jarod, I saw something in your story the other day where I felt like your dog Hazel is sleeping better than most of us. She got the blanket, she got the jacket on, the gear. She's looking real comfortable.
Listen, man, I tell Hazel every day, I'm like, you live better than like 90% of people in the world, right? Like, you're a lucky dog. Of course, you're looking at me like, I don't speak English. What are you talking about?
She's absolutely living the life. Lucky dog. Before we get into some of this over-under stuff, there was some news that came down today. Woj and Shams tweeted about things going on around the Sixers and Ben Simmons. And there are now reports that Ben Simmons could return to Sixers camp as early as this week. His agent, Rich Paul, is trying to work things out with the Sixers. They've long been told Ben Simmons was in this for the long haul, guys. He was going to ride this out. He wasn't going to return back to the Sixers. But now it seems like he will. And it seems like that's going to be kind of awkward. What do you guys make of all of this, and how's this going to work out?
Look, man, first off, shout out to the legendary rap group Mobb Deep, who let you know ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. Man, if you really about this life, you got to be about it, right? Like, and clearly Ben is not about it. Look, the to your point, Dex, about the situation in the locker room, going to be awkward for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben is not a confrontational kind of guy, clearly. So we'll see how that whole inner dynamic is going to play out. The other thing, and I want to like stress this because it's important. I think Clutch made an error here. This is bad advice they gave Ben. Remember, he had 4 years left on that deal. This wasn't, I got 2 left, I got 1, whatever. No, 4. Like, I mean, that's not and you are going toe-to-toe with Daryl Morey, who is as stubborn a GM as there is, and who has no problems with things being awkward or uncomfortable. He is 100% good with that. We always often tell Daryl that he forgets the human element of it. So if it's anybody who was not going to balk, it was certainly not going to be Morey. And this is one of the byproducts of player empowerment, and which we're all for, and I love it. But sometimes you ain't gonna win. You ain't gonna win every battle, right? And this is one where Clutch, and I love what Clutch is doing and what their whole aim and their goal is as an agency. But this was one that they did not play well, and it's not a good look.
Yeah, I absolutely don't think they played it well. How much of this, Murph, in your opinion? I mean, it comes down to the money, right? Simmons didn't want to lose these checks that possibly were coming in. The $8.25 million we already knew a couple of weeks ago was put into escrow. This has to be about the money, at least in my idea, why he wasn't about this holdout life.
Yeah, of course it's about the money. And from both sides, I would think, from Clutch. Remember, they get paid when Ben gets paid. So I'm sure they're not too happy about Ben losing his money. Ben himself, I'm sure, is missing, that $8 million paycheck he was supposed to get, I think, a week ago or something like that. So, I mean, but again, to Jarod's point, this is something that you should have taken into account. And we thought they did. Like, why make this move and hold out if you're not prepared to lose some money? What did you expect? They were just going to, bow to you right away and trade you, wherever you want to be traded, or just trade you in general? It doesn't make any sense. And his true leverage didn't come until the season started. Like he would have had to take those money hits and let the season start and let the 76ers realize, wow, like what kind of team are we without Ben and without anybody to replace them? You're not even taking it that far. So I don't know. But on the other side, for Philly, it's a risk too. You're bringing this guy back in the mix. Like you said, it's going to be awkward to say the least. Does he come back in shape? We don't know. Does he try to pull a Harden? Is he going to play hard? All that kind of stuff. So, and then, is Embiid going to punch him in the face a la, Geno Smith, from the Jets. So we don't know what's going to happen. It's still a risk, for Philly, I think, bringing him back in the mix, but we'll see how it plays out.
I guess when we all talk about how we don't know what's going to happen, I would think Philly's got the upper hand now, right, guys? Because they've got this guy back in camp. They got to look at him. They're going to look at him in his face like, we won. You came back on our terms here, and now we can still try to get the deal that we want. Do we think he plays any games for Philly at all? Or is this going to be a situation where he shows up, I'm injured, and while they try to work out this deal?
It depends on what Simmons does and what him and Rich Paul's plan is, right? Okay, he comes back, he starts showing up to practice, he starts getting, maybe he gets the $8 million back or some of it, because I'm sure they started taking some money out of that because it was in escrow. Then, because that was a $8 million payment due to start the season, not even related to games. Does he go? You got to go to games to get game checks, right? So does he go to a couple of games and he's like, all right, I'm gonna have an injury and I'm sitting out for 3 weeks or whatever the hell, right? Like, who the hell knows? I just think that, again, from the Philadelphia 76ers standpoint, Daryl Morey, he is sticking to his guns, man. He's like, nah, like I'm waiting to get what's best for the Sixers, not what's best for you. And really the situation here is it's a high stakes game of chicken. Who can blink first? And look, Ben and Rich blinked first, and it's going to be this kind of tit for tat thing going back. But again, with Ben being under contract for 4 more years, they don't have a ton of leverage outside of sitting down, making an injury last a little bit longer and have the Sixers start losing some games.
Yeah, that's the only way I could see this playing out. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be awkward for sure, and maybe some people should have thought about how this played out a little bit before they went down this road. But
it's chess, man, you got to play chess with this stuff, and it just seems like they were playing checkers.
Seems like they were playing checkers. Definitely seems like that. All right, guys, talking about over-unders. This is what we're here for. What we did, so the viewers know, for the show, everybody picked 2 teams where they would take the teams to take the over and win totals, 2 teams where you think you would bet for them to be the under win totals, and then also 2 teams that you absolutely would stay away from. This is what you say you will not touch at all whatsoever under any circumstances. So we might have some overlap here. So Jarod, I'm gonna kick it off with you and start. Who were your 2 teams that you had that if you were betting, you're going to take the over and win totals?
So, first team, Memphis Grizzlies. How the hell they only have 41.5 wins?
Because they're the Memphis Grizzlies.
Nah, man. Listen, you stop disrespecting my man, Jaren Jackson Jr. and John Morant. They're going to win more. Listen, this team, I believe, has a shot of being a 6 seed, perhaps. Shit. They may even play their way into a 5 and avoid the play-in altogether. That's how I am on the Grizzlies. So Memphis, my first team at 41.5. Bang the hell out of that over.
Murph, just to stop you there. Murph, do you have the Grizzlies at all? Does it do any of it? I do not. Do you have the Grizzlies, Murph?
I do not.
So you didn't. Okay, so you
that's
do not.
Y'all sleeping. It's cool. Y'all sleeping on the Grizzlies. Remember last year I told you about the Phoenix Suns. Should have jumped on when I told y'all, right? See?
Here we go. The prophet Jarod speaking to us all. Jarod, who's your other team?
So it was tough picking another team, man, just because I was like, a lot of these numbers seem dead on. I don't know. I went with institutional knowledge, and I thought the number on the Phoenix Suns was also too low. So I went over on Phoenix. Phoenix at 51.5. I think they'll win 55 games this year. Phoenix.
Okay, Phoenix. All right. I'm going to get into all these because I want to push on exactly why with that. Murph, who did you have for your teams for the over?
Just the teams, right? No explanation for now?
No explanation yet. We'll get into that in a second. No explanation yet. I
got the Spurs at 28.5. And, we can talk about that later.
Okay.
As an over. Let me ask you first. Did you have the Knicks? Because I'll lay off if you had them.
I did have the Knicks. The Knicks.
All right,
of course,
so-
y'all some Knicks
right.
lovers, boy.
So I had the Knicks, but I also, just in case Dex had that, I also have Toronto.
Ooh,
Okay.
yeah, I like that one.
So that's so Murph, your strategy here. This is why I wanted to get everybody's stuff here. So Jarod, you had the Grizzlies, which they're 41.5, same as the Knicks. Okay. So we got some teams that are that the houses, or this house in particular, we got this from BetMGM. I think they're going to be around 500. Murph, you went with teams lower that probably most people see them on the outside of the playoffs. I did with another team. The other team I took the over for is the Cleveland Cavaliers at 26.5.
Interesting.
So I went with a team that's lower. And then Jarod, you also have a team that your second team was, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting right
Phoenix.
now. You had
Suns.
Phoenix. You have Phoenix. So you think that their number is a little bit lower.
A little too low.
A little too low. Let's start there first before I get into Murph stuff. With the Suns coming off a great season last year, you were very high on them. You even at the beginning of the playoffs picked them to go to the finals, I believe. You were telling people to get in on that
before the playoffs, homie.
Before the playoffs. My bad. You had people before the playoffs telling them to get in on that action. You were on this. Sometimes when there's a season like that, Jarod, there's a tendency to think they're going to, quote unquote, come back down to earth. Do you not see that? Do you think there's disrespect around the way people are viewing the Suns and the potential that they can have this season? And if so, why?
100%. And the other thing we got to take into account here, I didn't say they were going to go back to the NBA Finals again. All I said was they're going to win more than 51.5 games. This team is built to win regular season games. They got the institutional knowledge, right? DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, Bridges, like they're good money, man. Jay Crowder, and of course the point guard CP3. Like I think they're built to win a lot of regular season games. Everyone talking about what happened in the postseason was fool's gold because this team was injured. Okay, that may all be well and true, but we ain't talking about playoffs. I'm talking about regular season ball. And I like this Phoenix Suns team a lot. I think they've grown. I think they're prepared. Monty and Chris and those guys are going to come back kind of feeling like, damn, got a bad taste in their mouth. Because let us not forget, they were up 2-0 in the finals, if I'm not mistaken.
They were.
Right? Like, so they definitely coming back with a bad taste in their mouth.
Murph, how do you feel about that with Phoenix? Because I do think there's some intrigue in terms of what Jarod is saying, motivation for them to play hard in the regular season with something to prove. As we said, not talking about playoffs, just the regular season. How do you feel about the Suns there in that pick?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I disagree, vehemently with it, or it's just I stayed away from it because to me that number's right, kind of right to me. I see them winning, in the low 50s. I agree with Jarod. No matter what reason they got to the finals, all injuries, they still got there, and they still have that confidence level. They still, they still feel like they belong. They're still going to go out there with a swag, understanding that, we were the team that came out of the West last season. So I still think they do carry that. I agree. Booker's still getting better. Their young guys are still getting better. So yeah, I think it could be over. I just think that number to me was just right, kind of where it should be.
Okay, yeah. I thought that number was right where it should be, but I'm going to say this, Jarod. I think the Suns and the Jazz, those are two teams I could see being motivated to have really strong regular seasons, and I think those are teams you maybe want to keep your eye on. Yeah. But the Suns, it's a little bit tough because they're around where I would think. I could see them between 52, 54, but then an injury here or there. But
true.
Okay, you like the Suns. All right, we're going to get back to one of your overs. Murph, you went with the Spurs. I thought that was interesting. Like me with the Cavs at 26.5. The Spurs were 28.5, I believe. Why do you like the Spurs? I think a lot of people have them on the outside of even making the play-in. Sell me on the Spurs.
Well, yeah, I could see them, being on the outside there. It's just that 28.5 number just stood out to me. I mean, Popovich hasn't won less than 32 games since his first season in 96, 97. And he hasn't even come close to that in an 82-game season. Listen, I know the team is terrible in terms of their talent. He doesn't have what he used to have. I mean, one of their best players is Jakob Poeltl.
Your boy.
We know how I feel about that. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like you got Derek White, DeJounte Murray, Keldon Johnson, Lonnie Walker. I think that should get him to 30-plus games. I don't think that Popovich is completely washed yet. So I think I think that 28.5 is a little disrespectful to him.
A little bit disrespectful to Pop. Okay, I thought you might have some votes for the Boston Celtics. Either of the two of you with this over under. Nobody picked the Celtics. Maybe so. Hold on. Let me not say that. Somebody might have picked the Celtics for the under. So we don't know. With the great Brad Stevens gone, some things may have changed. I don't know. Okay, so let's get this out the way. So you guys give two of your overs. I went with the Knicks as one of my overs. If Jarod is like, of course. You guys like the Knicks, blah, 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 blah. I think, and Murph, I think you're going to rock with me on this. I think the Knicks are being disrespected a little bit. You hear a lot of stuff. Yeah, I do. You hear a lot of this stuff around NBA circles. Oh, the Knicks are going to regress. Last year was a fluke. They had a lot of variation with the three-point defense, blah, 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 which I disagree with. I think the Knicks were one of the best teams at closing out on shooters, as the Lakers were in terms of defensive effort. I still think they're going to be very good. What I think helps the Knicks in the regular season, I'm not saying that I think they'll actually be better or have a higher seed than they did last year, because I actually don't think so. But I think they'll win more than 41 games. And the reason I think they're strong for them is they have a lot of depth. This is a really deep team. They're going to play 10 deep. They've got a lot of depth. The young guys look like they've improved and quickly at Toppin. I think that's going to bode them well because, of course, there's going to be injuries. And I think they're a team built to do pretty well in the regular season. Kind of like Jarod said about the Suns. I'm not talking about the playoffs. How they might do in the playoffs is a different thing. But I think the Knicks could win anywhere from 44 games. I think, dare I say, as high as 48 if things break right. Woo! A lot of things. Yeah, I do. I think so. But I think they'll get that over. And I like them to get that over because of the depth. I think continuity also matters. This is something I think we underrate in the league. They have a lot of continuity coming over from last year. They added some new pieces. A lot of the players have played in Thibs' system. This is year number 2. I think they know how they want to play. They know their identity. They have a culture. They've got depth. I think these are all the reasons you should look at the Knicks. Now, this could be a little bit of a trick. It looks like a lot of these odd makers are trying to get you to bet the over here with the Knicks. But I could say the same for Jarod and his Grizzlies, and we will get into that in one
man, I'll be hating on my Grizz.
At the 41.5. But look, I like the Knicks. I think they're a good bet here, and I think you'll like the depth, and I think they're going to fight really hard in the East. I think there's some teams that other experts have been talking about around in the East that they're saying better than the Knicks that I don't like as much. But I like the Knicks. Murph, you almost put them on your list too. You kind of expected me to go there. Do you feel the same way about the Knicks? And Jarod, you can also tell us why you're hating.
No, I feel exactly the same way. Also, Thibodeau his teams play very hard, harder than most teams in the regular season. I think any Thibodeau coach team, you should probably always take the over in the regular season. No matter what their talent is, they're going to outperform in the regular season. Once you come to playoffs and everybody's playing that hard, things could be different. But they're going to catch up on teams. You can't come to New York and, be tired and think you could play 50% and get away with it. That's not going to happen with the Thibodeau coach team. I agree with you about the depth. Now they have guard depth. You have Kemba in there. So Thibodeau's not going to be able to run Derrick Rose completely into the ground as he would probably want to. They won 41 games out of 71 last year. And to me, this is a better roster, a deeper roster. Guys have improved. I know the East is better, but 41, I don't think they're going to be just barely a 500 team. I'm with you around 44, 45 games.
I think so too. Okay, Jarod, please tell us why you're hating. Let's just go into it right now. Why are you a hater?
Nah, I'm not hating. Look, last year I was not on this bandwagon with you guys. I was like, man, the Knicks, fuck out of here with that bullshit. They proved me wrong, no doubt. I agree with you, Dex, and I do think they will play well again this season. They may actually even win a couple more games than they won last year, but be a lower seed, as you mentioned, because the East is just so much better. The one things that I am just going to be keeping an eye on, I think RJ Barrett's development that we've seen thus far in the preseason. I know small sample size, don't kill me. It's only been like 3 games, but he's shooting that 3 better, and defenders are coming out to guard him. That's going to matter because something I am watching on the negative side is Julius Randle's regression to the mean on 3-point shooting in the regular season. Forget about the playoffs, whatever. I don't know that his 3-point shot is going to be as good as it was in the regular season last year as it was this year as it was last year. So that's one thing I'm looking for. And yeah, Tibbs, we're getting to be year 2 with Tibbs. Does he start grinding, right? Those are the things that I'll be watching on. But nah, I think picking the over on them is not a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. And you should rock with me and Murph. Because last year, we told y'all to pick the over on the Knicks. Now, they went way over what we thought they would do. Way over what we thought they would do. But we were right. Like Jarod was right about the Suns. Okay, Jarod, you also had the Memphis Grizzlies. Yeah. And I think we should also note here, folks, our man Brian Fonseca is not with us today, but we all damn well know that if he was here, he would damn sure be taking the over on the Miami Heat. We all know that would be true. We know that
48 and a half.
48 and a half. He's like, the Heat are going to win 57 games. We know this. But to the Grizzlies, your Grizzly Cubs, Jarod. Grizzly Cubs, they're at that same 41 and a half like the Knicks. You see them better in a West that I think we all might agree is not as strong as it has been. And a lot of that is maybe because of injuries, Kawhi Leonard, Jamal Murray. I think we all would agree with that. But you see this team really making a leap. I would think for them to make the leap and get over 41 wins, 42 wins or more, that a lot of that's got to do with your boy, Triple J, right?
Oh, I mean, that is it. That is it. I am putting all my chips in the middle of the table on Tripp having a rebounding season. He's healthy all year, and he is back to, 19, 20 points a game, 7 boards, 1.5, 2 blocks. Like, he's doing that, not fouling at a ridiculous rate. Like, if he does what I think he's able to do and shooting 39, 40% from 3, which when healthy, that's what he shoots. Like, yeah, he does that. And Ja Morant continues to ascend the way he is with their young guys, Brooks, and their mix of everything else. There's no reason this team shouldn't win 46 games. Look, they're around that area. There are going to be some questionable teams around them in the standings, right? Are we sure we know what Portland's doing this year?
No, I'm not. I'd be scared about them.
I don't, just because the Dame situation, I don't know. And as much as, we're all pro Luka on this podcast, how are we feeling about Dallas this year? Because I ain't feeling great. I'll tell you that. I'm not feeling great about them. So, and we know, look, Murph, you love Zion, but this is his third coach. He's a new coach every goddamn year he's been in the league. What are they doing in New Orleans? So, and exactly, not much. There's a lot of just teams around them, and I'm like, I'm really worried about y'all. So that's why I think Memphis could really do some damage.
Do you like Memphis, Murph? You feeling good about Memphis and what they could do? Are you as high as Jarod on them?
Oh no, I'm a little on the fence, but he's kind of convincing me when you talk about the other teams in the West, and also Ja Morant. I mean, how he played in the playoffs.
Yes.
I mean, he's kind of a different player than he was last year.
But I think he's the constant, though, Murph. It's Jaren Jackson he has to be healthy and do his thing, or else they're not going to do shit.
Right, but I think Morant's level of play is going to be significantly higher than it was like regular season last year, because he went to the playoffs and took it to a whole nother level last year, and I think that could translate to the regular season from the get-go this year.
Yeah, I could see that, but I'm with you on this, Jarod. It really is about Triple J and how he takes the next step there, and what goes on with that team, and then how Steven Adams fits in. Obviously, from that trade, I'm intrigued to see how that works for them. I think losing Valanciunas, who really worked well in their offense, it'll be interesting to see how they work all that in. Okay, Murph, your other team was I'm forgetting now. My mom, I'm having an old moment. I've seen it was
the
another
Raptors.
It was the Raptors. Okay. Yeah. Sell me on why you buy the Raptors with the over.
So 35.5 is kind of low. I know that they only won 27 games last year, but last year was a disaster. They had, they were forced to play in Florida. We all know with Death Santis. that didn't go too well. They had guys come down with COVID. A whole bunch of issues. It was basically, doomed from the beginning for them as far as that's concerned. But you have Nick Nurse, you have this organization. I think they're at least a 500 team. And you got, they have very good players still. They have Siakam, Anunoby, Van Fleet, who's a winner, Dragic, Trent Jr., Boucher's, and my guy Scotty Barnes, who he's looking like he can do a lot of things out there. So I think they have plenty to work with for Nurse. And I think, like I said, I think they're at least a 500 teams. And don't forget, with the new Canada ordinance, You got guys like Beal and Booker. They're gonna be miserable on the road in Toronto.
Damn, I hadn't thought about that.
I think that gives them a couple extra games too.
hadn't thought about guys coming through who will not be able to play in Toronto. Do you you were nodding your head a lot there, Jarod. Do you like Toronto because of the points Murph made? Once they were going through a crazy season playing in the Death Stantis state. So
I'm with Murph 100 on this, and I love Masai and what they got going on up there. Like, look, I'm with them, and in the way you talk about the Knicks about them being a tough out, that's how I see Toronto. Like, that's a team where you don't want to play them dudes because they're not going to beat themselves, right? Now, yes, they don't got the top end talent of some other teams, but they're going to be really one of those things where the sum of their parts are greater than the whole. Like, it's just because no one's a star yet until Siakam potentially gets back to all-star level. But them guys got institutional knowledge, and Nick Nurse, he's not one of these, intransigent coaches who are rigid in their thinking, right? Oh, we got to do a box and one? Fuck it. Let's do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he don't care. He'll do whatever to win.
Right.
Yeah, no, I could totally see that. I really like your strategy there, and I think some bettors will think about that, Murph, in terms of taking teams that are projected lower, and maybe you can see them making a leap, and that will transition me into the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Right.
Look, the Cavs, they haven't given you a lot to believe in at all whatsoever, at all. But they've got some players. It's just kind of really about how it comes together. You got the Sexland backcourt, which Brian loves, of course. You've got Evan Mobley. Now, that's a draft pick I like. I know a lot of us on here, we are really high on him. But I've been watching some of their preseason, and they don't look bad. And you know who looks pretty good? Larry Markkinen. He looks good.
Listen,
After I was a little down on him in Chicago, and this might be one of these situations where you find a guy with a change of scenery, he comes in, he looks like he fits well into what they're doing. He's moving well without the ball. He's stroking the ball from the outside. And I think Cleveland sneakily could have a nice little offense. And depending on how they progress defensively with Jarrett Allen and Okoro, we'll see how those things go. But I think they're primed to get – I'm not saying they're going to make a big jump. Would it shock me if they win 30 games? No, it wouldn't. Because I think they're a little bit better, and I think they're going to play hard. They're in that stage of trying to establish their culture and identity. The only concern for me, there's only one concern with Cleveland, and that's the man that wears number 0 for them. What is he going to be for them? That is Kevin Love I'm talking about. Is he going to cause a stink if he doesn't get playing time and they decide to go to younger players to play ahead of him? We've already seen this man throw tantrum on the court, and then some NBA writers like to excuse him for his behavior, saying that it's funny. It's not. It's not funny. You shouldn't be
funny how that go, huh?
Funny how that goes, where certain people can act a certain way, doing certain things on the court, and certain writers who look like them give them a pass. We see this all the time. But I think that, just in all seriousness, I think that can be bad for the young culture and what Bickerstaff is trying to build there with the Cavs. So I like I don't love all the talent, and I'm not really sure how it all fits together. But I looked at how they've been playing. I think they're playing harder. They're trying to form their identity. And I think they can really get something out of Markkinen, which will be huge, and Mobley developing and seeing how he could play next to Allen. I think they got some pieces, and they still have to figure some things out. But I expect the Cavs to play hard this year, and I think they're closer to 30 wins than they will be to that 26. So give me the Cavs over the 26.5. I would rock with them on there as long as Kevin Love doesn't fuck shit up. That's really what it comes down to.
I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying. The only thing that gives me pause is it's the Cavaliers. I don't trust that organization for shit. Like I don't trust anybody in that organization at all.
No, understood. It's fair.
I like it. I would definitely lean over with the Cavs. You're right. They have nice collection of young talent, but then you're also worried about how it's going to be all fit together, and if these young players are going to have the right direction. I'll tell you this: I've been watching some Cavs preseason also, and Mobley he already can do everything. I mean, I'm seeing him in threes. He can pass the ball. He can rebound. He plays the defense and he's smart. He's not committing dumb fouls. So this kid he's kind of a problem already. And but someone on Twitter did point out to me he's been playing much better without Sexton and Garland on the floor. So we'll see how they mesh together. But they have something serious in Mobley.
There's a couple things, and I agree with you. There's a couple things there. Sorry, Dex, real quick. Like young guys in this league generally don't win. That's just we've seen it. Like it's just young. They just don't know how to play yet. They don't know how to read the game. All that. so much of how a player develops is where they get drafted and the situation they're in. And we all agree on this spot, I believe. Mobley, I mean, sky's the limit for this kid. I just fucking Cleveland, man. Like, damn, like, don't fuck it up. Do you know what I mean? Like, even if he takes his rookie, whatever, and he ends up going somewhere else and like achieves the full weight of what he's gonna be. Right. I think there's just so much talent there, and I just don't trust Cleveland, man. I don't.
Mobley, to that point, Murph, Mobley looks really good. I've been impressed with the passing ability. I've also been impressed, maybe more than I felt like I saw with him at USC, his patience around the basket. Like, if he makes a move and he gets under and there's two guys there, he's not rushing. He's very patient, can draw the foul, can finish at a high level. He looks like the real deal. He might even be, I don't know if we had talked about it, but he's a sleeper pick for Rookie of the Year, I think, depending on how that team performs. But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
Jarod, you're right, though. It's Cleveland. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and that patience, I think some people, even me, may have held against him a little bit in terms of being, maybe passive, like how aggressive is he going to be to look for his own shot and that kind of thing. But you're right. There's positives to it, how patient he is and all that. So we'll see, man. But like you said, it's just the whole organization thing that you worry about. But I'm rooting for Kobe Altman.
I'm rooting for Kobe, no doubt.
Hopefully he gets that thing together.
JB Bickerstaff as well. Like, I just, Dan Gilbert, I'm like, that dude's kind of, I don't know.
Gilbert has a mentality that has been problematic in the past. We shall say. Yeah, but I'm with Jarod. You got to be concerned. The organizational is a concern. But I think they also need to handle that Kevin Love situation and get him out of here.
I mean, just fucking trade him. Like, whatever. You'll get something back. Like, just go with the full youth movement, man. Like,
I think they're waiting until December 15th when they have a little bit more options. That's probably what they're waiting for. But we'll see with that. All right, to the unders. Teams you think that are not going to do as well as the numbers that were put up there for them in the win total. Jarod, who do you have teams to take the under?
This is interesting. And this is going to sound wild. Y'all be like, what? Nah, it's not going to sound that wild. Sacramento Kings, go under on that, man. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what is happening in Sacramento. I'll give you an explanation later. But yeah, Sacramento Kings is one team.
Okay.
And the other team I was looking at too, and I was kind of wavering on this, but I hate to do it to you, Murph. The Pels, yo. I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know what's happening in New Orleans. I just don't know.
Okay. Pels. Okay, interesting there. Pels and Kings, those are two teams people think could be fighting for a play-in spot.
Lottery.
You're saying lottery. All right, Murph, who's your two?
I'm going to go with Dallas at 49.5.
I'm worried about them too.
Interesting.
The other one, I had two, but I'm gonna say Orlando, even though it's low already, but 22.5. We can talk about it later.
Okay, so Dallas was either going to be on my list of under or stay away, and I actually ended up not putting them on either. But I think my under may shock people. One of them, so I'm gonna go first. Might shock both of you. First one for me, under Brooklyn Nets, 56.5. I'm staying away. I'd say under because
Kyrie thing's got you nervous.
Kyrie thing has me nervous, which is why they could have been a stay away candidate too.
Yeah.
So it's not. I think if the Nets. I knew everybody was going to be together, or at least for most of the season, I'd say go for it. I also just am not sure that they're going to care enough about the regular season. I don't think they care enough to go that hard for 56 wins. It wouldn't shock me if the Nets were more around 51, 52, especially with how things play out with Kyrie. Who knows? We don't even know what the hell he's talking about half the time. So I have no idea what's going to happen. So the Nets are one at 56.5, where I would go to under. The other one is a team I think people are highly overrating because I don't believe they can stop anybody, and that's the Chicago Bulls. Like what they can do offensively, but I'm not here for the Chicago Bulls on this at 42.5. It wouldn't shock me now. I don't think they'll be way below that, but it wouldn't shock me if the Bulls finish the season with 39 wins and we're in the play-in, and they might eventually get in. But I don't like them at that 42.5 because I think they're going to be right around 500, and I don't think they can stop anybody. It's going to be really exciting some nights. But I watched it, and it was preseason, so I don't want to go too crazy. But watch the contest with them against Cleveland. It was last night, and Cleveland was right there scoring on them. They can't stop anybody.
Cleveland can score. To their credit, them dudes can fill it up. Like that's one thing they can do.
That is true. They can't do it. So I'm not a believer in the Bulls at all. Okay, so we have no overlap here, which is good. This is really good. All right, Jarod, I feel like I shouldn't ask you this question because I feel like everybody knows the answer to this, but why do you not believe in the Kings?
I mean, look at them, man. What they're a joke. Like, what even is that franchise? Who's their best dude? De'Aaron Fox?
Yeah.
If you believe in Fox, I know our producer Greg believes in Fox a little bit more than some other.
I believe in him.
And I believe in Fox too.
Wait, believe in him to be what? That's always my question.
Yeah, I don't know about carry you to a winning.
Oh no,
Okay,
he's not the number one on a title team. He ain't that.
Okay.
Oh
No. And Harrison Barnes. I mean, what is this? Like the Buddy Hield situation? Like, is he staying? Is he going? Vivek is. They're all bad out there, man. And Luke Walton, like what? Yo, like,
yeah.
I mean, is that dude even a good coach? Do we think he's a good? Is he a competent basketball coach?
Well, I mean, he was great when he filled in for Steve Kerr.
Yeah, because he had Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. Shit, I'd be good too. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say we don't know, or we do know that he's not.
And I don't know what's the Marvin Bagley. Yo, my guy, like of that vaunted draft class, like you ain't it. That
was clearly a mistake. I said that at the time.
You ain't hitting. So I just, again, that's another situation where the organization to me is a disaster. I'm just like, what is your plan? Do you have a plan? Nah, I'm good.
You're good. Okay, good on the Kings. I don't even know that much actually had needed to be.
Right, I know. I went long on that.
No. It's fine. It's the Kings. I mean, I just wanted you to explain. The people need to know because there's somebody out there on the fence that's thinking about taking the Kings.
Yeah.
Well, they're Kings fans who, like, they rock with this squad, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, sorry. Like,
yeah, it's that's a tough one there. Okay, Murph, you mentioned Dallas. I like that you're going to the under with him. Now, I'm going to give you what you're hearing in a lot of circles from other people. Luka's good enough to win you 50 games. I believe in the talent of Luka Doncic. Everybody knows who watches the show, anything I'm on knows I believe and I love the talent of Luka Doncic. But what I think that people underrepresent, I should say, in terms of basketball, Luka Doncic is a great, fantastic player, right? But even as great as you are, if the other dudes with you aren't up to speed, they ain't going to be that great. No matter how much great they are. You need some other people that are really up to speed. Now, that guy could be KP, but we don't know. What is KP up there among the league leaders?
Going to the locker room.
Going to the locker room. Tell me, Murph, that this has to be some of the reason why you have some trepidation with the Mavs, right?
Yeah, I mean, no question about it. I mean, 49.5, that's 50. So you're saying they're going to win 50 games. Luka hasn't done that yet, I don't think. What did they win last year?
No,
40-something. They ain't win
50
games.
They were 43 or 44.
Right. He hasn't done that yet. And I get, like you said, I think the number's a little inflated because everybody loves Luka and they think he should, and they want him to be the best player in the league. I think that's probably a couple of years off. And of course, the Porzingis thing. Porzingis, if he's there all year, they have a shot. But what's the likelihood of that? And what's the chemistry like between Luka and Porzingis? Even though I feel like with Jason Kidd there, that chemistry probably improves a little bit because that's something he'll work on. But then again, is the Jason Kidd part of it too. Is Jason Kidd a better coach than Carlisle?
Definitely not.
I don't think anybody would say that. So, you're coming in with the kind of lesser coach, and maybe he can loosen them up a little bit. But is it enough to get them to 50 games? And then, as you mentioned also, the rest of their roster, it's not impressive at all. So I just don't see a 50-game season from Dallas this year.
Who is the Mavericks' secondary on-ball creator?
Jalen Brunson?
Yeah, probably Brunson.
Okay, well, there you go.
Exactly.
There you go.
Right.
And no disrespect, but
he was a great college player. But I mean, he's a little slow for the NBA. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's at best a solid backup. I mean, he had a really good season as a backup last year. That was in the 6-man conversation till the end, and then we saw what happened in the playoffs. You couldn't play him. Carlisle didn't even play him in the last couple of games of the series against the Clippers. So, yeah, I don't know. All right, I'm with you on the Mavs. I didn't go there, and I wanted to put them on the stay away thing, but I think people are a little bit too much hype until I see it from. We could be wrong, and Porzingis could have a great year, and they might get there. But until I see that, nah, don't believe it. Now, for me, the Nets, 56.5. As I said, don't think they're going to go hard for things in the regular season. I just don't think there is. And it's a Kyrie factor. Is anybody have confidence that Kyrie is going to get this done and be here for this team? I don't. I don't at all whatsoever. All right. Now, some people are going to say, well, Kyrie will still be around the team now. He can practice at the facility because it's a private facility. Saw Kyrie the other day at the Nets practice in the park. He was there laughing it up with the players and everything. I don't know why they were laughing with him because I don't think funny about that. I don't know why, but they were. But I don't trust that whole situation. And as we said, and Murph, you very vociferously and eloquently pointed out the last time we did one of these, we don't know what the hell is going on there with him. We don't know what he's doing. We don't know what he's thinking. And as Murph said, of course it's going to be a distraction. It already is. I'm talking about it now and why I won't take them for 56.5 to be over because it's a distraction. And the longer this goes on, and from what I heard talking to some people are saying it's going to get done around the Nets, but they have no idea when it's going to get done. People felt good that he was there as a presence at the practice in the park the other day. But you know what would be better, guys? Him on the court. That would be good if he was actually on the court. So I don't buy it. That combined with the Nets, I don't think they're going to go for it. I think the Nets, it doesn't matter where they're seated. It doesn't matter where they're seated. They don't need home court advantage. We know they almost beat Milwaukee without 2 of their 3 guys. So they have depth that people aren't talking about. That's enough for them to, when I say that, to withstand not having to go for 60 wins. Their depth allows them to play the season in the way they want, and that's an advantage for them. And that's why I say take the under, because you're going to see Durant set some stuff out. You're going to see Harden set stuff out for precautionary reasons. They're the best team in the conference. They're the best team in the division. And I think their concern is being healthy and ready for the playoffs. And hopefully, guys, having Kyrie Irving on that basketball court as well. Now, I know you guys are very high in the Nets too. Would you take them over 56.5? Or like me, would you stay away or play the under?
That's probably a stay away for me. I didn't put them in any of these categories. But the one thing, that you mentioned is the depth. They have tremendous depth. And I was impressed last year how they were still able to win games without Kyrie or without Harden or without KD at some points. So I kind of feel like they're going to win a whole lot of games regardless. And then the Kyrie thing, of course, sometimes you forget. Like I wasn't even thinking about the no Kyrie thing when I looked at that number. But you're right. I think now at this point you have to expect. I mean, they do. The Nets put that out, a couple of days ago that they are expecting not to have him for home games at this point. So and I mentioned that to my guy Roden on Bill Roden on Sports, and he said, well, that's what they usually get from him. Is half the season. So that I was like, oh, you have a point.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Maybe they're used, they're used to it. So so I'm on the fence. I can go either way with that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm tired of talking about that.
But you're right about that though, Merv. And the legendary Bill Roden hit that makes sense, right? I mean, look, we talk about it all the time. 82 games versus 16 games. 16 games are the games the Nets care about. And those are the 16 games you need to win the title. Yes, 82 is nice and sure and all that. But you want your guys to be healthy and ready for those 16 games in April, May, June, right? That's when you're trying to win the games that you need. And, of course, it's going to be distraction, all that. Like I joked with you guys in the chat. This might be a way for Steve Nash because I asked him when he had his press conference availability with Sean Marks the week before media week. I was like, how do you get these guys to take rest when rest is what they need? And he was like, yeah, I got to fight them sometimes, whatever. I mean, this may be built-in load management, right? Like, and if Kyrie decides, all right, in March, I'll get the jab, cool. Like, right. You know what I mean? He's now fresh and ready to rock come postseason. So, it could be a blessing in disguise. But like Murph said, man, I don't love the idea of the constant noise and chatter around it. Like, when you're trying to win a title, you don't need fucking extra because it's the NBA season. Things are going to happen that we don't know yet. Someone's going to get injured. Some wild shit's going to happen on a road trip in January, whatever. Like there are storms to come that we don't know yet. So why are you adding more storms? But for that purposes, I'm staying away too.
Let me just add. I mean, yeah, Jarod, you make a great point. And I don't think we've thought about this, but obviously because it's some crazy shit that never happened ever. We never had to deal with anything like this. So, but you brought up he could get the jab in March.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, right? I mean, the playoffs are what matters. He could be like, okay, come down the line. Maybe I'll get it pre-playoffs. How about that, guys? Harden and KD be like, all right, fine. You know what I'm saying? Get it then. We'll make it. It'll be fine. Or the laws could change, right? I think that's what he's depending on. He kind of is depending on things change. The COVID numbers are going down. Maybe things are relaxed, and I don't have to get it. So those are two things to think about, I guess.
They are. I don't think they're changing anytime soon. So good luck to that.
It's wild, man. I would say this. It kind of makes sense now why Steve Nash was the coach and picked the coach for this team. And I say that because Steve has the right temperament to manage this. Like, could you imagine if Carlisle was the head coach of this team? Holy shit. He'd be fucking losing his mind. Or Stan, or any one of these like hot-headed, intransigent dudes who don't like to budge off the Thibodeau. Like, it would be a nightmare. Like,
they'd be talking to the front office like, get him up out of here now.
No doubt. Or they'd be fighting, or he'd be fighting when they'd be like, nah, get this coach out of here, right? But Nash, he emotionally intelligent, like, we good, man. Let's just do our thing.
Right.
All right, we'll see. Okay, Jarod, your other team that you had for the under was the New Orleans Pelicans. Mm-hmm. You were not believing in the greatness of Zion Williamson.
Oh, stop it. Don't do that.
Or you were scarred. Murph said this is unbelievable. Or you were scarred by that horrific offense that we saw led by Stan Van Gundy coaching last year that Murph and I many times in picks and props were disgusted with. Why are you low on the Pelicans in terms of wins this season?
It's just it's the newness again. Now it's a third coach with a new system. Like, hell, man. Like, and look, Willie Green, and we're rooting for. I think he'll be fine. But this is his first time being a head coach. You got to give him, you got to give him a little, a little curve, right? Like, all of a sudden he ain't gonna show up and they're gonna win 45 games. Like, you gotta give them some time. I think. Look, should they win more? I think so. With Brandon Ingram and Zion alone, that should get you some wins. But the rest of the roster are kind of ill-fitting. Are they? And where are they with Jackson Hayes? They in or out on him? What's the deal with that? And Bled. I don't love it.
Sorry, they got rid of
Bled's gone.
They got rid of Bled. Oh, thank God.
So take that over right now.
They got rid of Bled. Thank God. No disrespect. Right,
but Jarod, another question. Do you think that 39.5 is too high for them? Is that just the numbers too high?
It's just a weird number. It might even be a stay away, to be honest. Like, just because I'm like, because look, if Zion plays 70 games and he's doing shit, they might win 41. They might battle for that 9 or 8 seed, right? Like, but I don't see them as like a 45 win seed. But I could easily see, oh man, Zion tweaked his ankle, whatever. He's gonna sit out 10 games. And they go 0-10 in that stretch. Well, there you go. I mean, anything that goes on that kind of losing streak, the odds of them winning more than 39 games, probably not likely.
Oh, fair. Murph, anything you want to say to defend your boy Zion Williamson?
No, I think it's fair. Like I said,
just ain't about Zion's great.
Yeah.
He ain't the problem.
I know. I'm just trolling. I'm just totally instigating. I'm instigating.
It's fair. They didn't do much last season, and they still have the same 2 best players. So we'll see. But I got more on them.
You have more. You have more of them. Interesting. Okay, Murph, your other team for the under was?
What's my other team? Orlando.
Well, I mean, Orlando is not as good. They're at 22.5.
Right.
Nobody thinks they're going to be particularly good.
Nope.
You think they're going to be particularly extra bad. Why?
Yeah. So that was the problem with this. The number's so low already. You're like, but then you look at their roster and you're like, oh my God, they don't have anything. Okay, I don't think they could win. I'll be happy if they win 20 games. So I think they'll be even worse than people think. Like I said, they don't have anybody in their roster, and when you look at their 3 best players, they probably all play the same position: Cole Anthony, Suggs, and Fultz. The East is improved. I just see them completely struggling, and it's sad to me because those 3 guys I mentioned, I root for those players, but I don't know what you can do. I mean, you got Mo Bamba, he hasn't proven anything. I like him. He's a New York City guy. Jonathan Isaac. They just don't have anything. So if there's a team that's gonna, that might be at the bottom of the NBA this year, I might have to pick Orlando.
Who's worse, in your opinion, Orlando or OKC?
Oof.
I think OKC might have some more talent.
They got SGA. So I mean,
yeah.
Right. Yeah, I can see. I can see that. Okay, not bad there. My other under team was Chicago Bulls. Think they're overrated in terms of. I don't want to say overrated in terms of offseason acquisitions. I like the acquisition of Lonzo Ball. I think Lonzo's a good player. He's starting to come into his own. I thought that was good. I'm not necessarily sure how I feel about the fit of DeRozan on this team. Obviously, I think he'll help them. He'll be able to, give them buckets, late game scoring for sure. DeRozan's really talented. My problem with this team, as I said before, is really simple. They can't stop anybody. Lonzo, the best defenders are on the perimeter, and one comes off the bench. Lonzo's the best defender. Well, two of their three best defenders come off the bench if Patrick Williams doesn't start. Patrick Williams, which was a really good defender for them already, is a second-year player. Caruso is a good defender, and Lonzo Ball. They have nothing on the interior that's good defensively. Vucevic, no, not the answer. Levine, no. Okay, DeRozan, also no. So while I think this team will be exciting, they are going to put up points. I think they could easily be one of the best offenses in the league. I don't think they're stopping anybody. I see people who have them better than Celtics, better than the Knicks. Wow. I don't see it because they don't play D. I think those teams are better than them defensively, a little bit more balanced. I'm out on the Chicago Bulls. I know this is everybody's darling pick to make the leap in the East and be a top 5 or 4 seed. I've seen this about. I'm not buying it. I'm out on the Bulls. Give me the under with the Chicago Bulls. Would it shock me if they went 40-42? Absolutely not.
I don't think you're wrong here. Like, I mean, but that's what the Bulls have hoped, right? By going all in on Lonzo and DeRozan and all that, they're like, all right, we're making a leap. But I'm like, leap to what? Now, I think Levine is going to be better this season. I mean, he was great last year.
He was damn good last season. Yeah.
He coming off of that, the Olympic year always buoys a guy when he comes back, especially a first timer. And being around Draymond and KD and all that, it's like, oh shit, like this is what it's like when you're playing winning ball. So I think he's going to help and do all that. But to your point, Dexter, I think they're just odd fitting in terms of defense. So look, they may score some points and beat up on the dregs of the league. But I'll be interested to see how they do against top competition.
Yeah, I think I agree. That, to me, I'm on the fence there too. But they have so much talent. To me, what you're saying is an indictment of Billy Donovan, and to me,
I try to be nice there.
Yeah, that's why I waver, because I'm not sure about him. I'm not sure what kind of coach he really is. He's had a couple of good years, a couple of bad years. This is a big test for him. So if he can coach, they got to be over that number at least by a few games. If they go under that number, it's a complete disappointment of a season. There's no question. I think that number is kind of low. I mean, for all the movement you made, and that's your over under, 42 and a half. Like you thought you're going to be some kind of contender, or at least like a second tier contender. That's not even a second tier contender.
Nope.
So, to me, it's all about Billy Donovan putting this together. I think Lonzo's improved.
Mm-hmm.
I like DeRozan.
Yep.
I agree. Levine's going to have a monster year again. So I mean, they got some pieces. Williams,
Patrick Williams,
off the bench. I mean, they got guys. So for them not to be over on this number, and I agree, because I'd be scared to take it, but I'm just saying. Yeah. But for them not to be over is an embarrassment.
Indictment on Billy. No, you're right, Murph. Like, they look inside the Bulls organization, they got to think they win in 47 games this year, right?
Right.
Or else why are you going out to get them dudes? That's what they think. Well, we'll see.
They better. And you're right. That number might be indictment. All right. Last topic. We'll talk about teams you should absolutely stay away from. This means do not think about it. Do not think about putting any money down on this in terms of over under. Just stay away. I have this funny feeling all of us may have at least one of these teams the same, because I think there's an obvious stay away team.
Interesting.
Here in the NBA. Yeah, I do think there'll probably be some overlap. Jarod, who did you have as your stay away team?
I don't think we'll have them. I don't know. My two, it's going to sound crazy. Y'all going to be like, what? Minnesota Timberwolves and the Golden State Warriors.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we did not. Okay, Minnesota. Okay, Minnesota, I wanted to talk about, Jarod, so I'm very intrigued as to that. And Gold State, I think that's a very popular pick for everybody.
A lot of people high on the hog there. I'm like,
whatever way they go, it's a very popular
know.
team. So for people to go, okay, Murph, who do you have?
I have the Celtics, and I have
I can see that.
the Pelicans.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we have absolutely no overlap. This is the one, guys, I thought was the obvious that everybody would probably go with. For me, it's the Philadelphia 76ers.
I was looking at 50 games. That
That was another one of my unders.
That was one of your unders.
Yeah.
Stay away from me. Stay away. Too much. We'll get into
too
that.
much drama. We don't know what's happening there.
This might be a shock for some people, but the Lakers at 52.5. Stay away.
They old dudes. There's nothing shocking about that.
Yeah, I'm staying away from them. Okay, Jarod, Timberwolves. This is also a lot of people are talking about the Timberwolves. Sexy pick. They could push past the play-in. Might be fighting for the AC. So I've heard somebody say this. I don't agree with this. They could be this year's Grizzlies that we saw the last 2 years.
Chill.
Yeah, I agree. Let's pump the brakes on that.
A lot of people gassing themselves up on Anthony Edwards. And by the way, who I think is excellent. He had a great rookie season, got better every year. Yep. Of course, we know about the great Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, who maybe not as great. But this is still the Timberwolves. Like, what is this organization showing you that you're like, yeah, I'm betting on these dudes? They just fired their GM to start training camp. What are they even doing? Nah, man, I'm good. And who's the head coach in Minnesota right now?
Chris Finch.
Right. Who the last GM got because that was his boy, right? Nah, I'm good.
But they got so much young talent, man.
Listen,
Anthony Edwards is gonna make the leap.
I love Karl Anthony Towns. Yo, free cat. That dude's got he's got 3 years on that deal. 3 or 4. Shit. Fuck. Nah, I'm good. Stay away from that team. Stay away.
All right, Murph. One of your stayaways was the team. I'm very shocked to hear you say it was the Pelicans. Why are you staying away from the Pelicans?
I mean, a lot of it is what Jarod said. As far as his under, like they got a first-year coach. We don't know how he's going to be. I do like the new additions in Valanciunas and Graham, and I like this additions by subtraction with Steven Adams and Bledsoe. Can Nickeil Alexander-Walker be, a productive point guard ish or combo guard that they think he? I like him, but every day we got to see. Then you got Ingram and Zion, who can they play better together offensively, and can they play any defense between them? That's a question. But then on the other side, Zion promised that he was never going to miss the playoffs again. So I got to ride with that.
Oh, he said that. Man, I ain't know that shit.
So I'm up in the air. I'm hoping, but I won't put any money on it either way.
Okay, won't put any money on it. I mentioned the Sixers. I think obviously with everything that's going on with Simmons, we have no idea what's going to happen with that, when they're going to be traded. Also, Embiid is always an injury away. You could see him easily missing 10 games. Mm-hmm. Who knows how this Sixers team will be when he's just the focal point of the offense. Look, no matter what you think about Ben Simmons, if he's not on the floor for that team, they are not going to be as good as a team. That is just a fact. And we don't know what they're getting back until they trade him. So I'm staying away from the Sixers with that 50.5. There's really nothing more for me to say than that. It's just there's way too much uncertainty between Embiid's health and Simmons' ability to where he's going to be and what they're going to get in return. We don't know when Simmons is going to be traded. He might not be traded until January.
What if he plays?
Right. What will the Sixers record be by then? I don't know. I don't think any of us could.
So you don't think he's going to play you don't think he plays game 1?
No.
Okay.
I mean, now a lot of that depends on what we see happen come if he comes back this week to the camp.
Right.
I just don't see how does he play?
How do you play? So does he pull the Harden and come in out of shape? Who knows? Right?
That's got to be the move now, though, right? It's got to be that, or like Jarod was saying before, the injury. That has to be the move.
It's either the Harden or the other way. Because look, part of it is he wants some of the money, right? So you're gonna have to play some games to get them game checks, and then it's I tweaked my ankle, I'm out for 3 months. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because Daryl's gonna want the deal he wants. And right now, the market ain't giving him what he wants. So we're at an impasse. And it's going to depend on how Josh Harris, Sixers governor, if he's like, cool with, all right, Daryl, you just ride this out, whatever. Or if he gets annoyed and he's like, enough of this, make a move. And that, I don't know. Those things alone make them stay away. Like,
Murph, I'll at least say this. Even one, to answer the question, no, I don't see him playing at the start of the season. And even if he does play and goes a route that Jarod mentioned and, plays, tweaks an ankle, all right, that'll happen. And what that happens is it gives both sides his camp. He doesn't want to play, doesn't want to be around the team, whatever. And then Morey, he knows that the market can open up a little bit more after December 15th when there's more players you can trade. So what we have to ask ourselves is, between the start of the season and December 15th, with just Embiid, as the roster is currently constructed, do you believe that they will be an above 500 team, competitive in the East, or could you see them being 7-15 after 22 games, 9-13? None of that would shock me at all whatsoever. It's for that reason. Staying away, man. Stay away like Ben Simmons is staying away from the team. That's what you should.
Right. And if I had to, like I said, I would take the under because you just don't know what you're going to get with Simmons. If he comes back, is he, does he play at all? Is he out of shape? It's such a weird situation because it's like either way, it doesn't really make sense for the 76ers. You're bringing him back. He's not going to up his trade value if he's not into it.
Right.
Okay. And then he comes back and he's still hurting your team. So it's still, to me, the answer is to trade him. But you're right. If it's all about putting it off until December, fine. But I think you got to go under here because it's just not pretty. How could it turn out well? I just don't see it.
Yeah, it's gonna be an awkward 2 months from October to December. It's gonna be a real awkward 2 months.
Awkward indeed. All right, Jarod, talk to me about the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, so everybody's high on the Warriors, like they're gonna be a lock to make the playoffs. They'll get at least a 5 seed, no play in, all that. I'm not saying they're not gonna do that. Everybody's assuming Klay's gonna come back and everything's gonna be all good just because we saw Durant come back, find off an Achilles. Maybe. But that's not going to be till January. And Klay's coming off an Achilles and an ACL. Maybe not. I don't know. James Wiseman still, this dude between college and his rookie year has played like 2 minutes of basketball. What do you think? You're going to come right away and beat a man? Has Draymond's 3-point shot gotten better in the offseason?
No.
Nope.
What's up with Mr. Although now he's vaccinated, he's still an anti-vaxxer, Andrew Wiggins. He just is what he is. So we're counting on Jordan Poole and all these young guys to like make leaps and take. Could they? Maybe. Will they? Yes. Steph is great and the brilliance is awesome. But we saw what we had to do last year just to get to the play-in.
Right.
Means you got to be nuclear the whole season. I don't know, man. So for me, I'm not saying it can't happen. There's too much uncertainty with this team. So stay away for those reasons.
Stay away for those reasons. There's a lot of people high. They're going to be putting a lot of money in the
Warriors. Yeah. They're like, they only win 50 games. They're back to me. They're like, people saying if Klay comes back and he's straight, Wiseman develops all that, and they make a trade, they're back to title contenders. I'm like, y'all tripping. Like,
I'll tell you, you know what I don't like about that? It's a lot of ifs.
Listen,
don't like that. It's a lot of ifs.
A lot of ifs.
Especially the trade. That's a big
right.
if.
How you know? Right. You don't know what you want to get back.
You don't know. That's a lot. That says a lot. There's a lot of ifs. I like the Warriors as a stay away. I'm not saying I don't think they make the playoffs. I can't commit on either side, because there's a lot of ifs. Like, right. Could I see them as a 5 seed? Sure, if things break a certain way. Could I see them as an 8 seed? Sure, if things break a certain way. Also, I don't know, like you said, Jarod, I don't know what the hell. You don't know what you're going to get from Klay Thompson. Everybody's acting like it's guaranteed. This dude hasn't played basketball in 2 years from 2 serious injuries. So, I don't know.
We'll see.
Murph, your other stay away team was at the Pelicans, and who's your other stay away team?
The Celtics.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So do you see what Murph is doing here? Murph is acknowledging the greatness of Brad Stevens. He's saying that Brad Stevens stepped away from the team and failed up to the front office.
Woo, that man fails up, boy. Let me tell you.
Failed up that the Celtics are in trouble with out of here. Now, Murph, I want to let you know, I almost put them on my under list. I almost picked was one of my 2 picks for under, and they were in the contention for stay away. So I like this. I'm with you on this, but tell me why.
Well, I mean, you hit it on the head. Without the boy genius, Brad Stevens, I just don't know. You know what I'm saying? I just don't know what another coach could do. But on top of that, it's a first-year coach, Ime Udoka.
Yep.
You know, I have a lot of respect for him. I think it's going to be good. But same thing with Willie Green. We don't know exactly.
Take time. It takes time.
Yeah, it takes time. And then he comes. He's right. He jumps right into the fire where you got superstars that he's going to have to deal with in terms of Tatum and Brown. How do they play this year? Tatum, to expect. Brown already has COVID. I don't like the Celtics' depth at the wing spots in particular. And then, like I said, Brown already has COVID, so that's a question mark for me. But on the other hand, they are very talented. With led by those 2 guys, you still got Marcus Smart. You got Schroeder. You got enough there to where if everything clicks, they could be really good. So it's just a complete stay away from me. I just don't know which way they'll go.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of uncertainty there with the roster, and when you lose a coaching legend like Brad Stevens,
exactly.
I don't know how your franchise recovers. Come on, Jarod, give some love to your boy.
He might have to come back down to the court.
He might pull up. He might pull Pat Riley. He might have to.
We got to start this year off right. Fuck the C's. Look, my thing is, I'm everything Murph said is dead on. I don't love their point guard depth either. Look, Marcus Smart is what he is, but I'm like, and Dennis Schroeder. I mean, cool. I don't love that. And yeah, the wings, they got no wing depth. I do like Time Lord. I think Time Lord is going to hopefully get some more minutes and continue. I mean, because he had 8 blocks in that playoff game. I mean, he's excellent. He's a good defender, and if he can just figure some other things out, we'll be all right.
Healthy.
But there you go. Stay healthy, and then again with Jaylen Brown already having COVID, that hurts them. I do have a question for you guys, though. I mean, it's not over under, but it's about the Celtics. I mean, really. I mean, I think we think we know. How good do we really think Tatum and Brown are?
I mean, I think they're. I mean, very, very. Offensively, the question is how good are they? Totally, like in terms of including like leadership. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's like a big thing, like the intangibles. I know skill-wise and offensively, they're very, very good. I mean, both these guys could average 25 plus, no question.
So
and
you see all NBA. You see all NBA for both of them.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Brown. I mean, Tatum's already there.
Yeah.
Brown.
Yeah, and Brown's a better defender. Yeah,
right.
And Brown had a fantastic.
He had a really good start to last season until he got hurt.
The problem is they kind of do the same thing, right? They're both wings.
Yeah. That's the problem. They both need the ball. See, who can play off the ball better? It's gonna have to be Brown. It's not Tatum. I think Tatum's got to have the ball in his hand.
I agree. I agree with that. It's almost as if somebody of the two, and I don't think it's going to be Tatum, has to acknowledge that they are the secondary player. They are for lack of a better term, the Robin to the Batman.
Well, I think Brown has done that. I think, it seemed like that to me last season. Both of them were coming into it. They both are great in their own right, but Tatum is the guy who takes more shots. He has the ball in his hands more. And Brown has seemed to accept that in the past. Whether that continues, and like I said, a new coach now, that's a whole new dynamic. Who knows? But he definitely put himself behind the 8 ball getting COVID.
Yeah.
So
anti-vaxxer.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So he's behind a whole nother 8 ball. The last team for me, as I said, to stay away is the Los Angeles Lakers. I think a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, stay away because of their age," blah blah blah. That's part of it, but that's not really the whole thing for me. I think the thing for me is, look, they have the league leader in trips to the locker room, and that's and so that's a huge part of it. And Murph, I think you said this the last time we did a live show. You said they need a big season out of Anthony Davis. I absolutely agree. We need to see Anthony Davis look like he did in the bubble. That's necessary.
Bubble Davis.
But need Bubble Davis, but some people feel like you need to put him in bubble wrap because he's going to be going to the locker room, right?
That might help. That might help. Instead of like a sleeve,
So that is the concern there. The other thing is we have to talk about Jarod's boy, the king.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Now, LeBron has all the motivation to not be the wash king. He's coming back.
Ain't nobody called him no wash king, man. Damn.
Coming back with a new number. Got the 6 on, right? And my thing is, based on what we've seen from LeBron, particularly the last couple of years, is I think now you're at this point where you got to expect him to get injured at some point, right? I'm not saying it's going to be a catastrophic injury, but it might cause him to miss some time. So that combined with what I've already said about Anthony Davis, this is the reason why I'll say it's a positive that they got Russell Westbrook for the regular season. We've talked about our concerns for the postseason, and I'm sure we'll get to that later. But for the regular season, Russ can help. But is that enough with the injury concerns I said to get them over 52.5 wins? In my opinion, no. Also, this is a team with 13 new players, right? We talked about how we value continuity. I think the Lakers are going to be fine in terms of playing together well before the playoffs comes around, but it's going to take some time for them to gel. It wouldn't shock me if this December 15th, we see them around 500 trying to still figure things out. I think they will figure things out. I'm not saying that, but I think there's a lot of things that this team has to come together and learn Frank Vogel. And then how good are they going to be defensively? Frank Vogel's
not as good as they have been.
Right. Frank Vogel's a fantastic defensive coach. And what I hear you saying with that, Jarod, is they don't necessarily have the players to do that. Oh, I think he'll get effort out of these players. Yeah. I think he will preach his defensive principles, but do they have the horses to play the defense as good as they once did? I don't think so. So for that reason, yeah, I can see the Lakers. Could the Lakers reach 50 wins? Probably, maybe 49-50, but I'm not confident about them getting 53 or more. I'm not. So for that reason, the Lakers, they'll stay away from me because it's just too much. This is kind of like you, Murph, with the Pelicans. I might actually want to go to under here. I might actually want to do that, but I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that, would be shocked if they have a nice run in the season and it's somewhere around that number. Yeah, but before that reason, yeah, I'd stay away. You got to stay away on this one. All right, guys. Any last thoughts in terms of betting over unders? Were there any other teams that, caught your eye? You had any concerns? You might, bet or you think it's crazy where their number is? Any last thoughts?
Indiana and Portland, just because of what they got going on right now. Those are teams that I'm like, oh, stay away from them. I just don't know what's to come. I mean, look, Dame is now backtracked off of his I want to be moved deal. So it looks like he's staying in it for now. We'll see.
For now. Yeah. We'll see.
I think the one team I thought about a high over was Milwaukee. I mean, they're already 54.5. But you talk about continuity, kind of same thing we're talking about with the Suns, having that confidence. And they've been there before in terms of having great regular seasons. They know how to do that. So that's one I considered going over. And if I had to go either way, I'd go over.
I can see that because I can see the Bucks being really motivated. A lot of people are sort of disrespecting them, not talking about them.
By the way, they love it. They love the fact that everybody's talking about Brooklyn and Kyrie's and all this drama. Milwaukee, we just whistling while we work. Ain't nobody thinking about us. They think we paper champs. Cool. We'll see. And here's the thing that they have going over everybody else. Their prime player is only 26.
Right.
That's huge.
Yep. That's
home court still matters.
And I think for them it does. And I think they want, I think they know everybody's talking about Brooklyn, and they're going to want, if they have a game 7, it to be in their building. I think they want that for sure. So I think their team is motivated. That last thing I'll say is another team I think that might be motivated, but they also kind of were in the stay away category for me. I'm scared about them. It's the Utah Jazz. I like to see them 52.5. They could be motivated to have a great regular season. Don't like how the season ended with their exit to the Clippers. I can totally see that. But, guys, can we also see this going wrong? Could we also see things not going well? They're off to a bad start.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some friction between Donovan and Rudy. And now Donovan is asking out.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the only thing to me that would derail Utah is if Donovan and Rudy really start, it's just we ain't vibing like that. That's the thing. The one team that I forgot to mention, because I see them, I'm high on them. I'm very bullish. I think they're going to be a top 3 seed in the East. I think Atlanta wins 50 games this year. Ooh. I do. I think they win 50. I know it sounds crazy, but
they're deep. They're deep.
They're deep and young. All their dudes who matter are young. I mean, I know Clint's a little older and Lou, but their main guys are young. I like that, man. I like that. Matters.
They also primed to possibly make some moves. I think that's a team to keep an eye on too.
Atlanta, because they're gonna have to decide: are we keeping Cam or are we keeping Kevin Huerter? And then so they're a definite prime trade candidate because anybody who asked them for DeAndre Hunter, I'm like, fuck no, hang up the phone. And then Cleveland and Orlando, because they're going to be bad, but they have a glutton of bigs in Cleveland and a glutton of guards in Orlando. Somebody got to go. And a team that's contending might be like, shit, you know what? I need a guard or I need a big. Let me go see what I can get from one of these teams. So those are teams to watch as well.
It's going to be interesting. Over, under season. If you're going to get your bets, got to get them in now. You know, listen to me and Murph about the Knicks. You should probably listen to Jarod about the Suns. Generally right about those teams. Generally right about those teams. Thank you guys for joining me. For Jarod, Hector, Jamal Murphy, I'm Dexter Henry. Thanks for joining us on the NBA Exchange.